keeping you connected to our community. 11 Connects.
And thanks so much for watching 11 Connects. I'm your host, Tony Keith, and today I'm joined by the expert when it comes to trees, shrubs, all the above. We've got Levi Heydrich here. He's the owner of Heydrich's Colorado Tree Farm Nursery. And Levi, we're going to talk today about upkeeping your plants. You got them in the ground. Let's start with the basics. For those who maybe are looking to plant a tree, it's not that simple.
No, it's not. I mean, you got to follow some basic rules. I think the first thing is don't underestimate weight. I've had several calls the last 2 weeks where we've loaded trees with big tractors like you might see in the background. You know, some of these trees can weigh a couple thousand pounds, but an average tree might be 400 to 600 pounds. So make sure you've got the equipment, the dollies, the equipment to handle them so you don't hurt yourself or damage the trees or tearing them up, getting them out. After that, one thing you want to make sure you do is dig a wide hole. Should be kind of a bowl shape. We don't want straight sides. Dig a wide hole, measure the depth. We want that root ball to be a couple inches, 4 inches higher than surrounding grade if we can, especially if you have heavy clay or an area that's wet. You get the tree in the hole and you're going to stake it. We're a windy climate, and you'll read, if you Google this, you're going to get 1,000 different answers. My information, what I'm trying to tell you is how to do it best for our climate. So staking, in my opinion, is not an option. One microburst, one strong wind, if it rips that new tree or tips it over, it's tearing all the fibrous roots that are trying to get started. So make sure you stake it. After you have the tree staked, then you can start to backfill. As you backfill, fill the hole with water. We call a slurry. So we're getting the air out of the soil. We're getting a nice mixture of mud and compost. Add a little bit of soil amendment. We're shooting for like 5 to 10% of organic matter. So use the native dirt that you have and mix that with some form of compost. There's several varieties available. We sell Eco Brand, we sell Happy Frog, Clay Buster, Cottonburr Compost are all some that we sell. But don't over amend. The trees have to grow in what the native soil is. We hear that a lot. Well, we dug all this crappy clay out and we moved it away and we filled it with compost. Now you've created a pot. We want the tree to start in some of the native soil. So once you've got it planted, you'll do your final grade, rake it, make sure we don't bury a bunch of dirt back on top of the root ball, and if you mulch, only a couple inches deep. We don't want 6 to 8 inches of mulch packed up on top of that root ball around the trunk. That's the same thing as planting it too deep, essentially.
So there is some science to nature, plain and simple, what you're saying.
Right.
Let's talk about location too, because you have to plan for the future when it comes to trees.
Right. So the tendency is to plant it looking good now, when in fact you want to take the mature spread of these big trees and space that out. So if measure your yard, and if this tree gets 40 to 50 feet tall, 30 to 40 feet wide, they need to be spaced out accordingly. If you're planting 2 maples in your backyard to get that big, they should be 20 to 30 feet apart, not 10 to 15 apart. So they, proportionate, that would look okay now, but down the road that would be just a disaster.
Good. And let's talk upkeep for a little bit on these trees. So you took the time, the effort, the money to get this in the ground. Talk about keeping it there and keeping it looking good.
Right, so the big thing the first few years is water. It takes 3 to 5 years to establish a new tree. And the first year it's going to take more water, then you'll slowly back off. But the idea is to totally saturate the ground, then dry it out. Saturate the ground, dry it out. Don't just keep it constantly wet because you'll drown it. And if you don't water it enough, you'll dry it out. So it's got to be a cycle. They have one or the other. They can't have both at the same time.
Anything other than water that can help the growth of the tree, the strength of the tree?
Initially, you want to, or not initially, but later down the road, year 2 or 3, then you could fertilize something with a lower nitrogen, something to promote root growth. So that's important. Deep root fertilization, there's several good companies here in town that can do that for you. They have great products, great service. Deep root fertilization is amazing for older, more established trees.
If you're anything like me, you might have an idea of the tree you want, but again, getting that tree to your home, you guys take care of a lot of that.
We can, yeah. I mean, we're happy to load it here for you if you have the right truck or trailer. If not, we do have independent contractors that plant and deliver for us, and they can take care of everything for you.
All right. Before we go, what should folks at home do if they're interested?
Check our website at coloradotreefarmnursery.com. Feel free to visit us during business hours. Bring information. How big's your yard? What are your HOA requirements, things like that, so we can help you make the right choice.
A lot of important things to think about. Well, Levi, thank you so much for the time and for the knowledge. I hope everybody at home learned something. I know I did today, but hey, we appreciate it.
Yep, you bet.